Lieutenant, I know that you have a specific interest in healthcare from your past chairmanship of St Richard's Hospital Trust. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to perform our opening ceremony. We are particularly grateful that you've been able to come today despite your injury, and we all wish you a very speedy recovery. Thank you. Those of you familiar with our old surgery will realise what a transformation this truly is. From our cramped, though affectionately described as cosy premises, to one which is contemporary, bright, spacious, superbly equipped. Our quest for new premises goes back a long way. In fact, during the course of our move, I was sorting through some old papers, and I found a letter dated 1998, in which we made a request to the County Council for a piece of this former school site, with the aim of building a new surgery. On that occasion, the answer was a rather firm no, but with persistence, great patience, and the help of many people, we eventually achieved our goal. I should now like to hand over to Dr. Geoffrey Oliver to say some further words of thanks.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you very much, Janet. The history of this place certainly does go back a long way. 28 years ago was when I started in the history of this place, when I came for an interview with Alec. And Alec confidently told, Alec Shaw, who was then senior partner, who confidently then told me, don't worry about the fact that we've got two premises. We'll soon be in one premises in Ifield. For some reason, it's taken an awful long time. But I know it will be very surprising to many people here, but the history of this practice does not start with Dr. Shaw. It actually goes back before then, if you can imagine times past. And I'm not going to go back to the very beginning, but I'll go back to Dr. Ronald Knight, who bought the Grange Hotel for the princely sum of £1,800, together with 3 acres of ground, and set up a practice there. Now, unfortunately, Ronald can't be with us today, but he has left his bag. Now, the bag contains things that the average GP would carry around with him. You know, the old forceps in case anyone was desperate. But they also had this very useful, very useful piece of equipment. Now, it consists of, I thought initially that this was actually some rag that was left in it. It's not. It's a very important part of the equipment. There's this, which, to give you a clue, has a carbon dioxide cylinder attached to it. Okay. Now, I know some people have been told before what this is, but any ideas?
Making fizzy drinks.
Yeah, when they were on call for long periods of time, they needed fizzy drinks. That's a good one, yes.
Anesthetics. Somebody said anesthetics.
Yes, yes. What you did was you quietly dripped this over the patient's face, poured chloroform on it, and then stimulated them to breathe with the carbon dioxide. Nice way of knocking them out. Now, I managed to find an article from those times. It's 100 years old, 100 years ago, and it has some really very useful tips for the GP at the time. For doing tonsillectomies in the home. Very common, apparently. Now, you had to choose a medium-sized room with a large, well-lit window. A narrow wooden table is placed so that the head is opposite the window thus obtaining the best possible light. Isn't that wonderful? We do this anyway. The thing I really like in this article is this: hemorrhage usually corrects itself, ceasing when the patient loses sufficient blood to make him feel faint. Well, if only I knew that. The reason I've gone back this far and shown you that is just to highlight the difference between those days and the fantastic facilities which you'll see when you look upstairs for surgery in this building. Things certainly have changed a great deal. This building will enable us now to take advantage of new initiatives and new innovations in practice that will no doubt develop over the next few years. I would like to thank the people who made it possible, and I'm sorry that there's quite a list, but I hope I made sure that nobody's missed out. I'd like to thank the Mayor and those at the Borough Council for supporting the project. I'd like to thank the West Sussex NHS, and particularly, sadly, the late Sonia Vescovi, who did an awful lot to get practice premises in Crawley to modernise. I'd like to thank Alan Bishton from GPI Developers for his patience and enormous persistence in managing to get this project to happen. Ian Maskell, the architect, for designing such a beautiful building.
Over here.
See you come in. David Golan, who's the surveyor and who advised the practice both before and after and during completion. Norman Lyon from Farnrise Construction Company for the building. Hi.
Standing next to the architect.
David Edwards from Chawton Hill for project managing the building. And the members of the patient participation group, many of whom are here, who gave advice throughout the project, and very helpful advice and things that we needed to do. Finally, but not least, I'd like to thank Pat, our practice manager, who was very dedicated to this project and showed enormous tenacity in seeing it through, even postponing her retirement in order to make sure that this project happened. And finally, again, I'd like to thank all the staff for their enormous patience and tolerance and for supporting us throughout, and especially Judith and Steve for enabling this practice to function fully right from day one. I think that was miraculous. Surgeries and things just happened right from the very moment this place opened. So finally, I'd like to thank the Lord Lieutenant for making the enormous effort coming here to open the building, and I'd like to invite her to cut the ribbon.
Thank you. This might take a moment. Thank you, Janet. I promise you can be absolutely sure that this is going to be a very short speech because I can't stand up for very long. But it's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you, Janet, Jeff, the other partners, and all the staff for inviting me. This is going to be a real jewel in the crown of the local community. And as we've heard, these things, they don't just happen. So thank you to all of you who've put so much hard work. We've had a list from Jeff, so I won't repeat all the names. But this is a day that's been a long time coming, I think, for many of you. So I'm now going to cut the ribbon and formally open the centre. And So it gives me huge pleasure to formally open Ifield Medical Practice.
Hey.